Yes. So back in 2019, when I just started with my PhD, I was looking at what is happening in this space, especially for youth, for students. And somewhere on Twitter, I guess I came across a post about the World Evaluation Case competition. But that post was about the results directly. I had not known about it when it was launched or anything. I directly saw the results that year. So I decided that I will keep a watch on it for 2020 and try to participate in it. But then something made me feel that maybe instead of participating myself, I should get other youth to get involved and participate. So we had a team from IIT Bombay that year which represented India in 2020, and I guess they came fourth overall or something like that. And that got me really interested, and I thought that if I can start something at the national level, like already a couple of countries had national case competition back then, if we can start something in India, then maybe next year we'll have a higher rank, or at least more participation, more students can be reached. And that was also the time when I started to work with Evaluate Asia, and we established Evaluate India in the November of 2020. So we wanted to do some activities which will not only create aware learning about evaluation, teaching evaluation on one part, but also create some awareness and some hype around the sector. And we thought that having a competition is a good way to get young students interested to participate and learn more and try to understand the basic concepts. So we decided that one of the primary activities that Evaluate India will do will be the India evaluation case competition. And I got in touch with you, and we worked out that the winners of our case competition will represent India in the World Evaluation Case competition. So the first ideas came up in the November of 2020 that we want to do something like this, and we seriously started working on only in the January of 2021. And I guess we held the competition in July or August of 2021. So planning was the main part. I reached out to volunteers across the country and experts in evaluation community of India members, etc. And from them, I got volunteers and mentors for us to help us organize the event. So we had a group of 5 6 volunteers in the first year, and uh, we realized that we need at least 3 to 4 months of preparation. And that time only we realized that in India we don't have typical courses on evaluation in universities. There are no master's programs, bachelor's programs which focus on evaluation as such. Some universities, especially management schools and some social work schools, have courses related to evaluation which is like one subject in 10 20 subjects that the students will learn. So we thought that why not also have sessions where all the students who are participating can attend and learn basics of evaluation. So we paced out our registration process and our entire competition in a way that we could have some 2 to 3 sessions with students, participants, and teach them about what is evaluation, what is an evaluation plan, what is theory of change, and so on, and then get them involved in the competition. No, so it was easy, I will say. I prepared a 2 page note. I give an introduction of what is already happening in the world case competition and the Canadian competition. And because I had that 2 page document ready about what needs to happen, why it needs to happen, what will be the primary main timeline, and so on, people were able to understand it. And because of that document only, I got the main core team of volunteers to work with me. And once they came on board, depending on their specialization, specialty, whatever they already knew, we assigned social media handling to someone, website handling to someone, someone focused more on the case development and reaching out to partners, and so on. And luckily we already had evaluation community of India and Evaluate India to work with us, so we had volunteers from them who came on board really quickly from the very start, and we could manage things. So challenging issue was to reach out to partners to get a live case study. an actual project which we could use. We reached out to different some NGOs, some funding agencies. We also reached out to UNICEF and JPAL and such people. But to actually land up on a case, that took us some time. One We had to do an MOU and so on with the partner agencies who were ready to support us. So that part was a bit difficult to get these existing evaluation agencies on board to get a live case study. Otherwise, it would have been a very artificial exercise. We thought unless we give a real world example, uh, uh, understanding the nitty-gritties will not be possible for the students. So that was challenging. Another challenge was to get participation, because when we were reaching out to all these universities and colleges, we got a centralized database maintained by the Ministry of all the institutes in the country. But when we mailed to them, many of the mails bounced. Most of them did not reply or forward it to their students and so on. So in the first year, we had about 90 registrations, but out of that, about 40 teams actually submitted the case competition at the end. Last year, again, I guess we had about 60 to 70 registrations, and some 35, 40 teams had submitted. This year, the registrations are yet to close, so I don't have the exact numbers, but we had about 35, 40 teams which had registered. So for a country of size of India, this number is small. If you look at if you're in some other country, you might feel that this is a good enough number of participating teams. But for a country of size of India, plus the diversity that we have of engineering institutions, technical institutions, plus some public health institutions, social work, management, and so on. Once we look at all of that, we feel that we have not yet achieved enough diversity in the number of participating teams or even the magnitude. The easiest part was to get some initial volunteers on board who have been working for the last 3 years. Some of them have continued working with us, even they are working this year. Though I have taken a bit of a back foot this year because I'm trying to finish my PhD. So having volunteers who have actively got involved and stayed with us for 3 years, that has been luckily been easy for us. Another easy part was to get some of the initial partners on board, like getting Evaluation Community of India interested into it, Evaluate India interested into it. Last year, BMGF was kind enough to support us. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation supported us because they had some grants for work on capacity development in India. And even in the first year, we were able to get sponsors for the prize money very easily. We also were lucky to get good number of um, jury on board. So even if our number of cases has increased, like when first year we are expecting 90 teams to actually participate and submit the document, we were worried that every jury will be overloaded. But that year we were able to get some 7 or 8 jury members, and because the final submissions were around 40, it was about 5 per jury member. So yeah, we have been lucky in the number of juries that have come on board. Even this year, some 8 or 9 juries have come on board. So even we have a session with them, discuss things with them, get their views, improve our marking scheme. So yes, that involvement has been good for us. Yeah, so there are benefits in different directions. One thing is many of these countries in Asia and Africa, we don't have master's level programs or in evaluation, specific entire programs on evaluation, research programs on evaluation. So how can we get students interested in this field? Students need to think about evaluation as a possible career option and get involved. So that hype creation can happen through such competitions. That initial awareness, exposure to the field can happen through these competitions. And once they realize that this is not a very complex thing, this is something doable, they might get retained in the evaluate chapters of those countries. Like as I said, in the first year, many of our volunteers came for the competition and they are now integral members of Evaluate India. At the same time, many of the participants also became volunteers with us. They joined our Evaluate India movement. They participated in other events that have been happening over the last 2 3 years. So that catching them at the right age, catching young and emerging evaluators while they're still students and getting them into the system has been possible for us. That will be a benefit for any VOPE. Also, I have seen as being actively involved with Evaluate chapters in the region, with Evaluate Asia, India, and other countries also. We have seen that even in these chapters, the number of volunteers has now started to taper down post COVID. During COVID, everyone was home and everyone had time at hand, so people were getting involved and doing stuff. But now that we want to do stuff offline, have events offline, and so on, people are finding it difficult. So reaching out to more people will happen through such competitions. More volunteers will come on board if we have such competitions. Yes, one important part is involvement of academic institutions themselves. Like in India, in the very first year, we were able to get Institute of Rural Management Anand on board. And they have some strong programs in rural development. They have a department which is into policy evaluations, and the head of that department and a professor in that department were very kind enough to support us and have been with us since then. We are also able to get on board couple of other academic institutions, and having institutional support, having professors from institutions as your jury members helps you in creating a continuity for the event. And of course, from those institutes, you get the most number of participating teams. But if we have to ever move to offline mode where we will want to have some offline sessions around the competition and have some space where students can come together and discuss, even then having academic institutions on board is very crucial.